Hi, everyone. Okay, it is still September 2nd, 2021. This video is going to be focusing on all agendas and how they are just moving along smoothly and rapidly. But I just read this comment, not trying to be nosy, just concerned. Are you still in Montana? Are you able to stay there safe? Maybe your friend apologized. I sure hope so. I'm sorry you got treated like that. And for no reason, I hate when things don't make sense. Yes, a whole lot is not making sense in terms of what I am going through personally. I have never experienced anything like this. And for, I'd say, I don't know. I can't even remember when all of this started. 4, 5, 6 weeks ago. I've never been so stressed ever. And I am really feeling it physically. But the reason why I bring this up is because people have been asking, and I will make a point to post a video tomorrow. Frankly, I've been wanting to post a video every single day. I think I'm just, I don't even know how to speak about my own life personally in a cogent way. I really am just living permanent shell shock. But I will do it tomorrow. And boy, I do want to thank every one of you for donating. Thank you so much. I am so sorry that I have not been able to get it together to thank you personally via email. I'll explain a lot tomorrow. But I really thank you, every one of you. Every one of you that leave supportive comments, informative comments, about how you feel about things going on. Because you absolutely, if you didn't exist here in the cyber world, then I would have to really suffer the comments that I get that are just utterly stupid or hateful or both or vile, attacking. All of you good souls, you're the balance for me, and I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I have never gone through a time like I'm going through right now, so it's been really, really important. So I will post that video tomorrow. And you're not being nosy. I've spoken about this. You can ask questions. I mean, that would be pretty horrible of me. Here I am talking about what's happening to me personally, and if somebody asks a question, I'm going to shoot back. How dare you? No, don't worry at all. I appreciate it. It means to me that I'm thought of. Thank you. Okay. I have been posting videos on my other channels. I can only post 5 a day, so I'm posting 5 a day. So this is Never Lose Truth 3. The directed energy weapons, the weather modification, the very bizarre clouds, the payloads in clouds, the strange things in the sky, the split, a very nice split, directed energy weapons of a house. This was in one of the California fires. The dew split, the do slice. Army Corps of Engineers behind the floods. 2011, they blew up the levees because they wanted to save the town, Cairo, Illinois. Impoverished beyond belief. I wish I could find the video that I did on it, but I think it was on Kafka Winston World, where showing all of these vacant buildings. You should have seen that place. So they needed to save Cairo because I guess Cairo was really important. It's a small town, and really it's not a town known for any kind of manufacturing or nothing. So they blew the levees on the Mississippi River and flooded out, massive flooding of prime farmland in several states, but Missouri got hit hard. Prime farmland. And those farmers, after the flooding, would not be able to farm or use that land for several years because of all of the silt that came with the flooding. They sold their property with their homes on it that had been in their homes for generations. Okay. And the Army Corps of Engineers released the reservoirs, the Addicks and Barker Reservoir, during the Harvey flooding, and flooded thousands of homes. And if they didn't release that water, those homes would not be flooded. I had a subscriber who did not get flooded because of Harvey, but got flooded because of the Army Corps of Engineers. Now, if you look at our departments, the U.S. departments, the federal agencies, you will see that virtually everyone is Agenda 2030, climate change, crazy. All of them working for the United Nations. This video, the United Nations, you think it's only in New York. There's there's probably more because this was years ago I posted this, over 120 chapters, United Nations associations, all throughout the country, working the agendas. 1,400 mayors work for the United Nations Global Parliament of Mayors. These videos have information in them that are very important to everything that's going on right now. Everything that's going on right now. Why they target areas, weather weapons, America, 2050. So I've received comments from people who have said that the flooding and the fires are just rural areas. Perhaps it's better to move into the mega regions, because they are reshaping the United States. They also target cities like New York City. Look at it, because they're bringing about all of the changes, the infrastructure changes that meet the standards of the United Nations and the New World Order. So I also have Never Lose. Wait a second. This is Never Lose Truth 3 and Never Lose Truth 1 right here. And I've created more playlists as well. And this is very strange. because I just created a lot of playlists and I don't oh, well, no, that shouldn't matter. Okay. The new videos that I've posted: 1968 frequency chart, 5G absorbs oxygen. This is an original 1968 electromagnetic frequency chart that shows an awful lot of the effects of man-inducing artificial electromagnetic frequencies. And here, this is 1992 Earth Summit by George Hunt, who was an attendee at the Rio de Janeiro, the start of Agenda 21. And he talks about how they really see us as useless eaters, and talks about what they, all of they, were talking about bringing to all of us, and schools and NASA teaching kids about chemtrails. All of it is natural. This was in Kentucky when I saw this very strange thing on the back door. But check out this video with pilots filming the chemtrails that planes were spewing. Predictive programming right here. But weather modification operations in California. Okay, a lot. And it's all pertinent. It's all pertinent to what we are dealing with today. Now, I'm going to recommend again, subscribe to Oscar El Blue, who is covering what is taking place at the borders of Mexico and Guatemala, and Mexico and the United States, and what's taking place. Americans need to know, but they don't, okay? We have an awful lot of very young men coming across the border from all countries, and he's on it. I don't know anybody else who is on the illegal immigration than this man. So I recommend highly subscribing. I don't even know what channel I'm on right now, but I was subscribed. But maybe in one of the other channels I have, I wasn't. Yeah, you need to know what's going on here. So, now more than 45 dead. Yeah, those remnants. You would think the remnants of a hurricane that made landfall in Louisiana, by the time it got up to the northeast, you'd get some rain. No, massive, massive destruction is what it's. Not just New York City, but this is Major Deacon. Wow. I know these expressways. I mean, it's Flushing. I used to cut school every Friday. I wouldn't get off the bus, the Q13 from Bayside to my junior high school, and I'd go to Flushing. I'd take it to the end of the line. There was a diner there. I'd have coffee and a bagel. Yeah. Yeah, I have a history, like we all do. So, Philadelphia, Queens, Philadelphia. Whew. This is Narragansett, Rhode Island. Oh my. I forgot to do the research on Rhode Island because I have a subscriber who has a son in Rhode Island, and I'm sorry. Okay. Queens. Philadelphia, 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 Philadelphia. The flooding has been so horrendous. Philadelphia. Philadelphia. New York. You know, even the video that I posted earlier, it doesn't really, I mean, that's only a glimpse. It's only a glimpse. I got a comment from a woman who lives in Maryland who told me that a major highway was closed down in Maryland, and I posted the video on the apartment complexes, 600 people displaced, 2 dead, and with, you know, some government official saying, we don't know where the water came from. Don't know where the water came from. Flushing. Major Deegan. Wow. Okay. So, guess what? Hurricane Larry. Hurricane Larry. Larry forecasted to become major hurricane this weekend. 80-mile-per-hour winds strengthening as it travels. And here, it's tracking near Bermuda. Wow. Like Bermuda needs it. Well, was that Bermuda? Can't remember. But if it tracks towards the East Coast or the Northeast, it would be absolutely devastating. And don't think for one moment that they won't bring it on. If they want to bring it on, they'll bring it on. So, and New York City flooding kills several residents of basement homes. That's what I was saying. There's so many basement apartments. And I think the number is going to go up. Frankly, I think it's higher than 45 right now. And I think they lower the numbers because it would just be too shocking for, the adult child American. And it's just, oh man, it's really hard to take. But I think it's this one. Look at this. That's why everything's flooding. I'm sorry. It's not the only reason. They have a lot of methods. I got this comment just recently how, I'm, I don't know, crazy because of believing that nanotechnology is being used. I can't stand it. You provide all of the evidence, and then you get those, and they come at you like, and I checked out the channel. It's a real person, but, they're stupid, and then they prove it by how arrogant they are. Stupidly arrogant, or arrogantly stupid. There are so many different methods they have to bring about weather. And this guy is still back with Weather War 101 and the wet coolers. Wow. Okay. Well, that's another. It's another. And we're seeing this all over the place. All over. These spewing up massive amounts of water. Oh, because it rained so much. And the drains just couldn't deal with all of the water. I'm sorry. Okay. Above ground world news, Mike Morales says Hurricane Larry could hit Newfoundland. Wow. And bypass completely the Northeast, the East Coast. My hunch, they'll steer it down. Okay, here is a live. I just stumbled across this walk, ride, fly. And he's walking around Manhattan tonight. It's looking at the places where the floods were, like on 28th Street subway. Those of you who are New Yorkers or were a New Yorker, you'll know that. So he went into the subway station at 28th Street, and it seemed to be pretty clean. They cleaned it up fast. But he also goes into Penn Station. Well, I came across this video. It's live. So there was a section that I didn't recognize at all. Well, here he is. I'm not sure what subway station he's at, but you know, this flooding caused major damage. But he's here, and he just said, "This smells like a morgue. It smells really, really bad." So all of the infrastructure, well, now they have a reason to spend your tax money to create their mega region, New World Order, Great Reset infrastructure. And it's coming. But this subway station looks really bad. So he's walking up here, and he's going to Penn Station. But I came in when he was on an escalator, and I have to tell you, I had no clue where he was. Wow, Manhattan has changed. It really has changed. But I couldn't believe, and I'm talking to the New Yorkers. I do have a few. But, really? Wow.
This is the Penn Station, Long Island Railroad, and subway stations for 1, 2, 3 ACE trains. All right, I don't get great reception over here too, friends, so I'm not going to go too deep, but just to show it to you, because he kept saying Penn Station, so I'm just going to show it to you a little bit.
Welcome to Long Island Railroad.
You guys like this new station?
Please be careful
Looks very
while riding the
classy.
escalator. Please watch.
Have you been?
It looks very sci-fi. Wow. All right. I'm going to go over this as quickly as I can. Look, we're in big trouble. Social Security projects shortfall in 2034. I think it's going to come earlier than 2034. Yep, not be able to get any money from, Social Security. But they're bringing in that digital, the universal basic income. So Social Security will be a thing of the past. Now, ACLU, far from compromising them, vaccine mandates actually further civil liberties. They protect the most vulnerable, people with disabilities and fragile immune systems, children too young to be vaccinated, and communities of color hit hard by the disease. Wow. ACLU. Well, a long time ago, you used to be, a legitimate, respectable organization that actually fought for freedom and civil liberties. But now you seem to have taken, I'll go with the narrative. The official narrative. And I'll even do the gaslighting, the Orwellian speech. Vaccine mandates further civil liberties. Yeah. Forcing people to take a vaccine furthers civil liberties. If you're unvaccinated, don't travel. Don't travel this weekend. You're unvaccinated, you stay home. That's what the CDC woman wants. You know, Walensky, stay home. Pfft. How come people don't see how much our country has changed? Sweden bans travelers from Israel, one of the most vaccinated countries in the world. Why? Well, their numbers are going up and up, skyrocketing with COVID. They have also, from September 6th, have an entry ban on countries Kosovo, Lebanon, Montenegro, Northern Macedonia, the United States, and Israel. Well, the restrictions of Americans coming to a whole lot of countries are getting tighter and tighter. I don't think they want us in their country. I don't think it has anything to do with coronavirus. They're just, hey, we can use this to keep Americans out. Department of Homeland Security and CNN scrambled to flip Biden Afghanistan narrative back to domestic white supremacist threat. Whoa. Now that's, well, a leap. When you have the majority of your populace that have decided, I'm going to hand over my brain to you, then they will believe anything. CNN, white supremacists and anti-government extremists have expressed admiration for what the Taliban accomplished. Oh, I haven't seen anything or heard anything. Have you? And those white supremacists and anti-government extremists are us. Ooh, us. Like me, you. The white supremacists are the Trump supporters. Yeah. Expressing admiration for the Taliban. And there's a worrying development for U.S. officials who have been grappling with the threat of domestic violent extremism. They don't have to let anything go anymore because most Americans do not think. They're brain dead. So they just put out true but dangerous horseshit. And Americans just eat it all up. Unbelievable. Nearly 100 retired generals and admirals demanded U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Mark Milley resign immediately over the botched Afghanistan withdrawal, which there are still Americans there, and a whole lot of those Afghans that, we used as interpreters, and they're still there. And I've seen a lot of articles about how pissed off a whole lot of servicemen and women are for abandoning them. And the lies, they just, it's amazing how they just continue. But what's also interesting with this administration is the phenomenal, overwhelming, the contradictions in this administration. You know, Biden says something, and then the State Department says something, and then the Department of Defense says they're all different things. And there are several people who are quitting, but I can't really remember who, so forget that. But, 100 retired generals and admirals are calling for the immediate withdrawal of Lloyd Austin and Mark Milley. So what does the leftist media have to do? They better get on it. And find a way to rein in all of the criticism of the Biden administration and, yeah, start putting the emphasis on the far-right groups, the anti-government groups, the white supremacists. And Americans believe this? Are there Americans who believe this? They don't give a shit about the older Americans. You know, the young, hey, why not? But even the young, I mean, did anybody to tell them that, you know, they should really question authority and do, you know, some research so they can retain their critical thinking skills, their independent mind? I guess not. Yeah, John Cohen of the Office of Intelligence and Analysis at the Department of Homeland Security. Oh my God, what a title. He must be right. He warned that white supremacist groups were framing the activities of the Taliban as a success. Oh, I'm sure they're all over social media writing about that success. That's probably where he got all of that data, that intel, they call it. Australia traded away too much liberty. Yes. Yes, it did. Okay. I will link below. But The Atlantic, wow. Okay, The Atlantic is writing this? Australia has been testing the limits, a restriction associated with communist regimes. Australia's borders are currently closed and international travel from Australia remains strictly controlled to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. International travel from Australia is only available if you are exempt or you have been granted an individual exemption. It gets worse. Intrastate travel is also severely restricted. South Australia. I guess Australia is the country that is showing the world the way. The Agenda 21, 2030, controlling every aspect of your life, living in a mega region. Too bad for you. You don't get to travel unless you get that permission from your government official. This is what our world looks like. And Aussies are already experiencing it. Yeah. You want to come into Australia? Well, tell us why. We might give you an exemption. Intrastate travel. Your mega regions, South Australia, now, but listen to this. Now testing an app as Orwellian as any in the free world to enforce its quarantine rules. People in South Australia will be forced to download an app that combines facial recognition and geolocation. The state will text them at random times, and therefore they will have 15 minutes to take a picture of their face and send it in to your, well, let's call it the Ministry of Freedom. And if you don't, then the police will come find you. Australia. Really? Should you fail to send in that picture, the local police department will be sent to follow up in person. And we don't tell them how often or when. On a random basis, they have to reply within 15 minutes. Premier Stephen Marshall. Victoria announced a curfew and suspended its parliament for key parts of the pandemic. They didn't do it for the Spanish flu. No. And yeah, Premier Daniel Andrews. It is not about human rights. It is about human life. New South Wales deployment of the military to enforce the lockdowns. All right, so you can read more of it, but it does not sound like a quote-unquote democracy anymore. Sees, this isn't going to change for you. Oh, they might, maybe a couple of weeks, relax some of those restrictions, and you'll go, see, see, when those restrictions come back, even tighter. And they will. So, federal use of facial recognition technology expanding. Oh, geez, this is the United States. I guess what Australia is living is coming right here. Yeah. Do you know that you're already being watched? What was that TV show? Can't remember. Yeah, facial recognition. Why do you think they named that social media platform Facebook? Amazon to continue its censorship of websites, any website using their cloud service. If you are a website that, well, I guess now you're anti-government, goodbye. More censorship. Look at Reddit. Reddit bans vaccine skeptic. Subreddit, no new normal. But last week, the CEO, Steve Huffman, said he would not ban that information, because Reddit is a platform that values dissent. He even went as far as to say that it would not stop people from posting content that runs counter to government guidelines. What a new country we live in today. Government guidelines. Geez. What government? Oh, United States. Well, those guidelines, aren't they restricting our freedom of speech, and it's coming from the government? Oh, yes, that's right. But Americans, a whole lot of them, polls have shown, yeah, they feel it's perfectly okay to censor information that they are so indoctrinated to believe is misinformation. Yes, dissent is part of Reddit and the foundation of democracy. Well, on Wednesday, Reddit banned what the CEO said they wouldn't. Oh boy, that came quick. No New Normal was a subreddit. 120,000 members engaging in open and authentic discussion and debate. But he also quarantined 54 other subreddits associated with this. Okay, we're looking at the complete end of our freedom, of the country as we knew it, but a whole lot of Americans still think they're living in that country. Well, that country is gone. It's gone. And we can thank ourselves for digging our own grave. Central bank digital currencies to be tested in Bank of International Settlements. It's coming. There's many articles about how central banks are going digital. Central banks around the world. So this is coming, and Apple's on it, putting digital version of your driver's license. So eventually, and I think this will, I'll be dead before this happens, but everybody will have to have an iPhone. None of those flip tops. Everyone will have to have a smartphone to make this work, obviously, right? California teacher busted bribing students to attend Antifa events. No kidding. It's scary listening to this guy.
I have 180 days to turn them into revolutionaries.
How do you do that? How do you
Scare the fuck out of them. Yeah. Sacramento organization that is under the banner of Antifa is very loosely organized, right? So that, yeah, when there is like right-wing rallies and stuff, then we'll create an opposition to that. Yeah.
Beautiful. Where would he go to connect to some of these organizations?
I post a calendar every week.
Awesome.
And then so and I do it for extra credit, so they get points for doing it. And so that encourages them to do it. And I've had students show up for protests, community events, tabling, food distribution, all sorts of things. When they go, they take pictures, they write up a reflection. That's their extra credit. I have an Antifa flag on my wall. And a student complained about that, and he said it made him feel uncomfortable. Well, it's just meant to make fascists feel uncomfortable, so if you feel uncomfortable, I don't really know what to tell you. Maybe you shouldn't be aligning with the values that this is antithetical to. So the Cultural Revolution in the 60s was fixing the problem that came about after the economic one. It ultimately failed, right? There was a lot of excesses. People were definitely shot in the streets that probably shouldn't have been.
Incredibly ugly behavior come out of this city, and you can see a couple of people over there that might be demonstrating that.
I have 180 days to turn them into revolutionaries.
How do you do that?
And that's what our teachers are doing today. Oh, have you seen any of those videos on the Cultural Revolution in China? You should watch them. I have some on my channels. That's right. Student is uncomfortable with the Antifa flag that he has in his classroom. And what does he say? I don't know what to do about that. You're obviously a fascist. Okay. Okay. So, San Francisco begins program paying people not to shoot people. I'm not kidding. San Francisco initiative to pay individuals not to shoot others. $300 per month to not shoot people. Really? Okay. So, how does that work? How do they, provide evidence that they didn't shoot someone? So here's the deal. Any week you don't shoot someone, you get $300. Month. But if you shoot someone, no $300. To get your $300, complete this monthly shooters report. Remember, if you mark yes, I shot someone this week, no $300 for you. Shot someone this month. And Americans, hello, where the hell are you? What the hell is... Well, let's see if it works. Now, the lying is... before Afghanistan collapsed, Biden pressed Ghani to change perception. In other words, they had a phone call, and Biden said, let's just put out this false narrative that the Taliban will not take over, Kabul and, Well, now Republicans are wanting that unedited transcript after Biden tells Afghan president to lie. This is our country. State Department contradicts Biden, says vast majority of interpreters and visa-eligible Afghans were left behind. State Department. But Biden said everybody's out. What? No, everybody's not out. Afghans face bank runs, food shortages as Taliban work to form a government. Now, I don't hear very many people talking about, we did this to Afghanistan. We did it. I hear an awful lot of people who are claiming that we had to go into Afghanistan after 9/11, to make sure that we never had a 9/11 again and get the terrorists and get Osama bin Laden, and all of it is bullshit, pure lies. Frankly, we went into Afghanistan. One of our main objectives was to take control of their poppy fields. But this is what we've done. Americans, this is what you've done. This is what we all did. Afghanistan had nothing to do with 9/11. But who cares? Let's just keep... Well, what... Do the lies come, and then do you put icing on it to make it really taste good or something? CDC wants the agency to take on firearm violence. You see these agendas? They're going on. I'm not here about gun control, but the CDC, for the first time in decades, wants to take on firearm violence. And then the next day, voila, student shot dead at North Carolina High School. Interesting how they always have something to point to. All right, that's the school teacher. Yeah, here, the idiocy. School removes urinals from bathrooms because it offends boy students who can't pee standing up. The girls who claim they're boys. So remove the urinals because it's offensive. It's a civil liberty for the transgendered boy or girl, whatever. But yeah, Loudoun County, Virginia. Anybody who has seen my Loudoun County, Virginia videos on the school board, well, you know why I said it the way I said it. Now, yeah, our liberties are being ripped away and America is almost gone. George Orwell could see what we have become. If only. Very good article. I think I'll read it into a video. But why don't we listen just for a few minutes to what George Orwell actually said right before he died. His warning.
By the time Orwell married Sonia Brownell, 1984 was written, after which he would never leave his bed again. But he left one final warning.
1984 is, I believe, a quite terrifying masterpiece. So terrifying, in fact, I don't think I should like to read another like it.
I am not absolutely dissatisfied with it. I think it is a good idea, but the execution would have been better if I had not been under the influence of TB when I wrote it.
You once claimed that you have an ability to face unpleasant facts. Is that what you've demonstrated in 1984 by drawing an accurate portrait of the future?
I think that allowing for the book being, after all, a parody, something like 1984 could actually happen. This is the direction the world is going in at the present time. In our world, there will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph, and self-abasement. The sex instinct will be eradicated. We shall abolish the orgasm. There will be no loyalty except loyalty to the party. But always there will be the intoxication of power. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.
don't let it happen. It depends on you. We let it happen. It's here. It's not coming. It's already here. We don't have a very nice future to think of, to dream of, to even live for. And I don't care too much about the baby boomers who are going to be dying off. We did have an obligation to the young. We failed. We failed.